Hi, everyone. This is Yaffi Lvova, registered dietitian nutritionist with Baby Bloom Nutrition. Welcome to Nap Time Nutrition. And today we are going to be discussing morning sickness. And I was going to make that up. Check that out. Bam, morning sickness. Well, we got to do something funny with it, right? Because it's not really a funny topic. So, have you experienced morning sickness? What was your experience? Was it actually morning, or was it all day sickness or night sickness? What was your experience, and was it different in different pregnancies? What are your tips for dealing with it? So there's plenty of research out there, given that this is well documented throughout the ages that women have been facing this issue as long as women have been able to conceive, which is since the beginning of time, wherever you put that. So there's plenty of research out there, but there are still plenty of old wives' tales for what works. And the truth is that what works for you might not work for someone else, and what works for someone else might not work for you. So you might have to try a couple of different things. The good news is that there are plenty of natural options for those who are not experiencing hyperemesis gravidarum. I have a surprise special guest. So if you're experiencing hyperemesis gravidarum, that's what Princess Kate had. She kind of made it famous, and some people were making fun of her for being in the hospital for feeling a little ill, but that's not what it is. Hyperemesis gravidarum, often just HG, is really a big risk. It's very low nutrient intake because your sickness is so overwhelming and all-consuming that you really can't eat anything or drink anything. And when I worked in the hospital, I often worked with women who were experiencing this, who had to be put on TPN, which is nutrition through the veins, because they were just so serious they couldn't take in any nutrition. And that needs to be dealt with your physician. Hopefully not at the hospital, but sometimes it does. It's not something that you want to be battling at home. So if you feel like your nausea, that your sickness is impeding your nutrition, speak to your doctor. Really get evaluated to make sure that you're taking care of yourself and your baby. You don't want to be at risk for those low nutrients or the electrolyte imbalances that go with hyperemesis gravidarum. Okay, so back to regular morning sickness, which is really just feeling nauseous at the morning or other times during the day. So there are a lot of different things that you can do. But why does it happen? Why do we go through this? So it's because when you get pregnant, your estrogen and progesterone start playing a game where they're just like, they start this. They're everywhere. Your hormones are everywhere. They're trying to adjust to a baby growing inside your body. Wow, it's loud. It's loud here. So the estrogen and progesterone are finding a new balance. And because of that balance, you may be experiencing morning sickness or reflux or other symptoms like that. Hopefully not so much. So people are really big into essential oils these days. And there is some evidence that they work, but you do want to be careful because certain essential oils can be contraindicated in pregnancy, meaning you don't want to be using them while pregnant. A good example is peppermint. A lot of people will use peppermint when they're feeling ill because it is a refreshing smell and it takes over everything else that might be irritating you. Hey boys, little voices, thank you. So hashtag real life. Okay, so if you can have peppermint, a lot of people will replace it with spearmint, which has the same effect of being that strong smell, that really clean, refreshing smell, but it's not as stimulating as peppermint, so it's a safer option. I am by no means an expert on essential oils, but you do want to look for some real evidence and good directions on how to use them if you're planning on using essential oils to help alleviate morning sickness. A big thing is crackers in the morning. Keep them by your bed. Have some as soon as you open your eyes. As soon as you can physically reach over and shove them in your mouth, that's when you should be eating those. A lot of times hunger triggers nausea. And so morning sickness is going to come from that feeling of hunger, even before you register that you feel hungry. And you're going to get, hey boys, please go play in your play area. Please go play in your play area. So you want to get something in your stomach before your body even registers that you're hungry, because it can keep that nausea at bay and really head it off so you don't experience that the whole day. It doesn't get in the way of the rest of your day. That's something really natural that you can do. Other natural supplements before you hit the hard stuff, and by that I mean the drugs. Okay, the prescription drugs for morning sickness. Natural supplements you can take B6. You do want to talk to your doctor about taking that, because if you're taking a prenatal, there's probably a good amount of B6 in there. And depending on your prenatal, you could be taking an adequate amount as it is, so you'd want to start somewhere else. And honestly, with any of these, you want to discuss it with your healthcare practitioner. They should be aware of everything that you're taking and all of the symptoms that you're experiencing. A probiotic is also a good idea. It may or may not help, but if you are vomiting regularly, you do need to make sure that your gut is in as good a health as you can make it. And probiotic is great. I did write a blog on probiotics, and I can link that below after the broadcast. If you're experiencing overwhelming odors and that's triggering your nausea, that's when we can come back to those essential oils. Lemon is a safe essential oil, and what some people do, some people who don't live in Arizona in July, is they'll wear a scarf with some lemon oil on it. Lemon oil, much like spearmint and peppermint you want to avoid, is a very clean scent, and it helps to overcome other scents that you might be smelling. You cannot control the shampoo and soap that other people are using. And I say that because that was a major trigger for me during 2 pregnancies. But if you can bring a smell to your nose closer to you than the other person's body, and you put some lemon oil on your nose, for example, that can really help keep that at bay. Or you can keep it on a handkerchief and go old-fashioned, and when you smell an offending odor, you just pick up your handkerchief and smell it. So that's something you can do as well. There's a product called Urban Moonshine that some other dietitians are recommending. I can't speak personally on it. I just learned about it 2 minutes before the broadcast. It's something to look into, and of course, talk to your physician about that as well. Ginger capsules. Ginger has long been known for its tummy calming influence. And everyone's different. For me personally, ginger makes me ill. Ginger upsets my tummy, but for the vast majority of the world, ginger has a calming effect. You can take ginger capsules, ginger candy, although you do want to be aware it is candy that is very high in sugar, and that could cause other issues, especially if you have some diabetes going on. Wow, lots of balls in the air at the moment. I feel like I'm losing my words. So gestational diabetes, that's what I meant. You want to be aware that if you're having those ginger candies, you're having the benefit of the ginger, but it is in candy form. So you might want to mix it up, take some capsules, drink some ginger tea or real ginger ale. If you look at the label on most ginger ales, they actually don't contain any ginger. So you do want to go to a place that has more natural products and get some real, honest ginger ale, if that's the way you're going to go about it, or make it at home if you're like me and want to torture yourself. So that's where you're going with the morning sickness. Over 50% of women experience morning sickness, and that over 50, in my experience, most women experience some nausea between the time of 6 weeks and 16 weeks or 10 weeks. It really depends on your personal physiology, how strong it is, how long it lasts. Honestly, mine was worse with my second pregnancy, which was only 1 baby, whereas my first pregnancy was 2. So it's very different between pregnancies. Another thing that you can try that's really natural and gentle is C-bands. Those are bands that you put around your wrist. They're made for morning sickness and for seasickness. And so you can find them in a lot of different places, definitely on Amazon. But it's a band that goes around your wrist and has a dot here where it hits a pressure point. And that pressure point helps to alleviate nausea. And you can just buy those and follow the instructions on the package. But you can wear them all day. And a lot of people do find relief by using those C-bands. And that's SEA bands. So as far as reflux is a very common symptom during pregnancy as well. And at the beginning of the pregnancy, it's, hey boys, Please go to your play area. At the beginning of a pregnancy, reflux is more related to the estrogen and progesterone shifting around and finding a new balance. Toward the end of the pregnancy, it's more likely that it's due to pressure. And you're going to approach your reflux differently depending on what the cause of the reflux is. Something that I like during the beginning of the pregnancy, throughout the pregnancy, is slippery elm. Why don't you just take this with you? Took my snack. So slippery elm, you can get it in lozenges, you can get it in a very fine powder, you can get it in capsules as well. What it does is it gels in the stomach, which holds the acid where it needs to be. You do need that acid in your stomach, and it's very rare that reflux is due to an overproduction of acid. What reflux is, whether you're talking about a pregnant woman or an infant or someone at a different life stage entirely, reflux is the acid from your stomach coming up into your esophagus and causing pain. When it lands in the esophagus, it's a burn, it's an acid burn. So the idea isn't necessarily to cut the acid. Sometimes it's actually to raise the amount of acid in order to clue in your body that it needs to shut that lower esophageal sphincter. So here's your stomach and here's that sphincter. So it needs to close so the acid doesn't shoot up past that. Slippery elm helps to gel what's in your stomach so that, thank you. So it gels what's in your stomach so that it doesn't shoot up into the esophagus. Something else is a common, thank you. Another common thing to do is to have pickle juice or apple cider vinegar. That sounds completely counterintuitive when you're experiencing acid burns in your esophagus to drink something that is vinegar. Just drink straight vinegar, or drinking lemon juice and water, which is another one. It sounds terrible. It may or may not work for you, but the idea is that by drinking it, you increase the acid in the stomach, which tells that sphincter to close, keeping everything, the contents of the stomach where they should be in the stomach so that they can follow the appropriate direction downward as opposed to shooting upward and causing pain. Something else you can use, again, for reflux as well as morning sickness is the ginger tea. I mentioned the lemon and water. And really, you want to look at why you're having that. Often when I'm having reflux, when I'm not pregnant, I go to my chiropractor and he adjusts me. I usually pinch right here and he fixes it and the reflux goes away. And that doesn't work during pregnancy just because it is so much about the pressure on your stomach, which no chiropractor can fix because that pressure is a baby and should be there. And the hormones, and those hormones are beneficial to so many different places in the pregnancy. You need those hormones in order to adequately grow a healthy baby and to keep yourself healthy during this time. So there isn't going to be any one-shot answer. It really depends on your personal biology and what works for you. So some tips. What can you do if you're experiencing this? You can try some of the things I've mentioned. Other tips that are very common are looking at your timing. There is generally a pattern to when you're feeling nauseated or when you're getting reflux, and you can use that timing to your advantage to make sure that you're eating small, frequent meals that's not happening during those times. I said it once, I said it twice, I'm going to say it again. Eat crackers the minute you open your eyes and can physically grab them and put them in your mouth. That's going to go throughout the day. You want to keep a little baggie of snacks in your pocket, in your purse, something that's easy to grab, because that hunger comes on hard and fast. And if you don't address it immediately, it will result in some discomfort. And you really want to head that off. So keep the snack with you. Eat the crackers in the morning. Eat small, frequent meals throughout the day. Note when you're feeling ill and try to plan around that. Eat before that, eat after that. Follow your intuition. I'm a big fan of intuitive eating, and it really, really holds true during pregnancy. Be in contact with your body. Eat when you're hungry, and you can stop when you're full. And really listen to your body. You're going to be hearing all kinds of weird stuff, cravings. Tell me what your cravings are. Honestly, go to the comment section now and tell me what your pregnancy cravings were. When I was pregnant with my twins, it was peaches and blueberries and then sandwiches, like such a vague craving, just sandwiches. And with my second, it was all pizza all the time. So you want to listen to your body. There's a reason you're craving that particular food. And if you let yourself have it without that shame, without guilt, without thinking about weight gain or weight loss, you're going to eat mindfully, you're going to enjoy it, and you're going to move on to the next thing. Especially with pregnancy, when you have a craving, if you avoid it, it's only going to get stronger. And you'll get to the point where you're waking your partner up at like 3 a.m, send them for a chocolate milkshake. I mean, who knows? So it's really best to listen to your body as closely as possible. Your body speaks very quietly until you start listening, and then the signals get louder. Avoid dehydration.
I gave you some popcorn.
Oh, thank you. Save me some popcorn, like half a cup. Okay, so trying to take back my snack now. Okay, you want to avoid dehydration. When you're pregnant, your blood volume increases by an enormous amount. And because of that, you have higher hydration needs. I could give you a cup amount. I could say when you're not pregnant, it's 8 cups. When you're breastfeeding, it's 13 cups. But the truth is that it goes back to personal biology. You want to judge your dehydration by how your skin is, by how the dryness in your mouth, if your lips are dry, if your skin is dry. You want to look at your urine to see what kind of shade of yellow it is. And that's going to be the best determining factor on your hydration. You're going to look for that light pale yellow color. And it throws it off when you're taking a prenatal vitamin that's high in B vitamins, because that makes it that neon color. But you're still looking for a transparent shade. You don't want something that's really bright. And use that to determine your hydration. And rest as much as you can. Take this time, put your feet up as often as possible. Don't push yourself too much. Now is the time. So if you have any questions or comments, if you want to tell me what your cravings were or are, or what worked for you for nausea, for reflux, please comment in the comment section. I would love to hear it. Maybe someone else can find your comments really useful in their situation during their happy battle with these wonderful symptoms that are associated with this beautiful part of our lives. I heard recently that the reason women who are pregnant glow is because they spent all morning puking. Yeah, well, I can tell you that was me for sure. So if you are a Phoenix local, come join me at Toddler Test Kitchen. I will throw up the registration link. Throw up. I meant to say that. That was a pun, right? It's been really fun over the summer, and we are continuing throughout the year, every other Monday and select Saturdays. So I'm going to put the link in the comment section, and you should come join me for cooking class for ages 2 through 6. And if you are pregnant and experiencing morning sickness during my class, I am happy to help however possible. And little kids are welcome to run around if they get impatient. Join me at Naptime Nutrition next week. I don't have a topic picked out, but I have a lot of fun stuff going on, and my kids will be back in school, so it'll be a little less distracting. So I hope to see you next week. You're not going to want to miss it. I certainly won't. So 1 p.m. Arizona time, which is currently 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. East Coast time. See you then. Thanks.